Hello, the game has started. It's my opponent to go first. I've got a pretty horrific rack, very unbalanced, only one vowel, and triplicate T. This could be very close to being a changing rack. I was hoping to see an A for jaunt or junter, but the only vowel I've got to work with is the E. So, do I have anything with that? No, I am changing. And I'll keep N and T. Wow, I draw 3 R's, so quite an unbalanced rack. Now, through an O, I would have narrator. No O on the board at the moment. No scoring tiles on my rack, so I'm going to struggle to score here, but certainly this rack is too good to change. No O. And no available vowels. And a good start for opponent. Opponent on 69 points. I'm on 0. Well, I'm thinking about playing Trank. What about a play from the K? Well, what about Cantar? 20 points. 4 more points than Trank. Trank retains an A, which doesn't add 4 points of value. I think Cantar is a more open move. It opens up the bottom right of the board, and columns 7 and 9 are available for bingos. I'm going with this. Wow, I draw a blank and an S. Still only one vowel. So the blank may well be a vowel. Do I have a bingo here? So I'm just at first going to consider the blank as a vowel, not saying a 7 with it as an A. What about an E? No. I know. O. No. And you know. Now with the blank as an N, I would have slurring through a U. What about the floating A of Cantar? I have girl as a component part of a word. Wow, no floating vowels for bingos. And opponent continuing to score well. I do have an I for going underneath the Q, but I don't have anything great in that spot. So what about an 8-letter word with the blank as a vowel using a floating consonant? So how about the D? Well, yes, I think I have girdlers. Just fits in. Slight doubt about it, but I think it's good. And it is. Fantastic. And I draw the second blank, so I'm getting close to my opponent. Tricky rack here. It looks slightly bingo-y, but with pairs of duplicate tiles, any bingo is going to be low probability and maybe difficult to retrieve. Henry takes an S after it. Column 14, a pretty good 7-letter lane, and a ton of floaters in girdlers. Wow! 9-timer, triple lane opened by opponent, and more floaters. What do I have with this rack? I'm going to be basically looking for an 8 and see if anything comes up. Now, what about Chia Batty? Don't think so. Not with an I. That looks slightly promising. 17 minutes on my clock. Not seen any bingos so far. Batik as a 5. I'm not going to burn the blank for that. Close to Batalia. Labiation as a 9. No O-N on the board. Ambi as a prefix. So, what about this rack? Looks promising. I've got the O for the Asian ending words. And for anti-words, so I have anti-bias. Wow, there is a bingo here. And this is going to be explosive because it's going to create a new triple lane. Wow. Let me just finish this exercise in case I find something else. But I'm not expecting there to be a lot of candidate bingos given the non-blank elements of the rack. Now that would be anti-bias through an N. That would be a 5 vowel 8, close to Aubrey Eater. No, I've only seen anti-bias. Wow. Anti-bias 470. And that's a pretty good pick. No duplicates, fairly balanced, lightly vowel heavy. U and G not great together. But it holds out the prospect of a good rack leave next turn. Unfortunately, the triple lanes have vowels, which don't really suit a 4 vowel rack. Now, what are the floating consonants on the board? I'm not seeing any 7s with this rack, but there's an N. I've got the unprefix. Just wondering about ungoaded, but there's no D. T. Not seeing anything there. Great, opponent takes out one of the triple lanes, dampens down some of the volatility. G, not seeing anything. R. No. How about the L? Nope. Okay, so what to do here? I have no scoring tiles. I'm kind of drawn to row A. We are pretty level, so I would like to dampen down the volatility. So what about guana? Quite nice. Only 18 points. And it leaves a vowel-heavy rack leave. Unaged 24, keeping a U. And providing a decent X spot. That's not great. Now, do any of these pairs of tiles give me a 9-letter play? I would have under in column 3. Nothing there. No, I'm not seeing a 9-letter bingo. I don't need to wreck this rack. If I played off GOU, the remainder is fine. What about Genua? 18 points. G doesn't take many tiles in front. In particular, it doesn't take an E. And I'm really sorting out the vowel preponderance, which I'd like to do. I'm going with this. Wow, I have spinode and dispone. And dispone plays in column 14 and spinode in column 15. Wow. Both could be blocked. Do I have anything elsewhere? And there is a triple lane still open in column 1 with IO. And it's also just a bingo lane as well. Now, opponent has not blocked both bingos. I have spinode and dispone in column 14. But is there something better? And is there a third anagram? Not seeing it. So I trail by 12. I don't have anything beginning AS. Can't see anything through IO. What about ER? Quite a promising set of tiles. No, not seeing anything there. Drek does take an S, and that's why I was looking for a third anagram. But I'm not seeing an S bingo. So Spinode for 84. And not so good, but it's 7 random tiles. And I do at least have some scoring tiles and some vowels to help with playing them. So I have FEU in row A. Opponent surely likely to be drawn to column 15 after my last play. I don't have any long plays here. I have FOE in column 15 if opponent doesn't play there. I have a lead of 70 points and just 32 tiles in the bag. Now, are there really no longer plays here? Great score for opponent, 50 points. My lead shrinks to 20. So this is what I'm thinking of, FEU. Is there anything better? Let me pause and consider. Do I have a 5-letter play ending in A? Not seeing one. FEU feels like an easy play, but it doesn't feel great given the vowel-heavy rack leave. Let me consider the remaining vowels. 13 out of 36. It's vowel dry. That helps make my mind up. Few for 21. Well, what about playing... Well, I can't play fume in that spot without it missing the triple. Wow, pretty good. Azotemic through a T. But in particular, I have the Z, which surely is a good scoring tile. Now, what goes after NE that I have? Just the E. I would have eczema through an E. Wow, opponent with 2 Vs. Column 1 with a D, I would have iodize. Can't see any Z plays through IO. So I was thrilled to see the Z, but I'm not awash with scoring spots. I have Zoa, which is quite nice. Scores over 30 points, and it interrupts 2 bingo lanes, row B for bingos ending E and row C, more particularly, for bingos ending in S, and there are 2 S's to come. However, Henry takes an S, so that's not... Zoa isn't as good in that respect as it otherwise would be. So 37 for Zoa, nice balanced rack. And the fact that it's an equal number of vowels would normally be a bad thing, but given the vowel shortage, it's a good thing. Look at this lead, just 12 points. Am I missing something a lot better? In particular, am I missing a bingo? Nothing with the G and very few other floaters. Maze is good. M-A-I-Z-E. Not seeing anywhere for that. Well, Zoa doesn't feel great, but 37 points is quite nice. Great, I draw one of the 2 remaining S's. No bingo here, no 7 anyway. Zoa has interrupted G and I as bingo floaters. I have an E-mix in column 15. 39 points, pretty good. although I'm slightly reluctant to put an S in the bottom right of the board. Well, I was just about to comment that Zo takes an E after it, which I have, but opponent's gone in that spot for 36. And now my lead just 13 points with 17 tiles in the bag. Only my S hooks ZO. I have no A or S to go in front. All A's and blanks have gone. MC is good, but I'm not in the business of getting rid of my vowels as fast as I can. And suddenly this board looking a little tighter in terms of scoring spots. Let me see what this scores. 33 points, keeping vowel heavy rack pretty good. Emix is available. 39 points, only 6 more points, but that's pretty dangerous. This is creating no bingo lanes at all. D can still go in front of ZO, but if I draw the D, that goes well with this rack, and I am turning over 4 tiles. And I'm providing nothing. The ZO hook was there anyway. Well, this is another of those moves that just doesn't feel great. But you have to look at the points and think that if this is suboptimal, it's not massively so. I missed the D, and that could prove quite crucial. That could be a 50 or 60 point play available. My lead only 40, and there's nothing I can do to block that spot. Just an E for column 15. 22 for opponent, so we're getting rapidly towards the end game. Do I have a 5-letter play in column 15, beginning with E? I'm not seeing one. So, what else is available? What about a play with IO? Not seeing anything. What about a play in row N? If I had a play with my C tripled and ending LY or EY, that would be pretty good. But I don't have one. What about this C? Well, I do have something quite nice, but quite risky as well. I have Cly for 33. I'm taking out a bingo lane, but my concern is about this one remaining H. Only 4 vowels left. Interesting. I think I do want to put my C here. An alternative would be Rely or Riley. Riley's quite tempting. 35 points. Only O or I go underneath the L, and only E goes underneath the R. I'm going with this. And I draw the D for Zoes. Fantastic. Through an S, so I'd have distinct. Have I set up a monster for opponent? Well, still quite a few scoring tiles to come. F, H, M, and W. Which means he's less likely to have a bingo. Do I have a 6-letter play ending in D? I don't. I have a 5-letter play. I have knighted. And that's more than 20 points with very few scoring tiles. That could be a useful score. So, 28 for opponent. My lead is just 30 points. So, what to do here? I have indict on my rack. There are 2 tiles in the bag. I am going to be emptying the bag. Ah, well, knighted doesn't play down here, but do I have something beginning with T? I do. I have tinked. That's 27 points. I'm retaining the D. I'm not going to have a 6-letter play because I will only have 4 tiles, but I may be able to go out with 4 tiles, and if those 4 tiles end in D, opponent can't block. A row A play. I am going with this. Well, I don't have a 4-letter play ending in D. In fact, I don't think I have an out at all. But opponent needs a pretty big score to catch me. Onto an N, he would have huntsmen. Very few bingo lanes left. Widgie onto IE, but IE not a word, so that's not going to happen. GDW, particularly grim triplicate. I have Gid and Doff. Can't see anything beginning with T. JAI is good. So I have Gid for over 20 points, and that's quite comforting. Do I have 2 spots for my W? I have Wed and Jaw. Okay, well, I think that probably is the out sequence. However, I think if opponent plays this endgame properly, I should only have 1 go. Opponent should be able to find an out in 2. I would have thought so anyway. I suspect he's looking for a bingo. But slim pickings in terms of bingo lanes. There's row F ending in I or I something P. There's column 1 through IO. And that is about it. So from a wide open board, when Urali and Anti-Bias were down, it's now super tight. Which is good since I lead. Not a huge number of options for me to consider. So I'm grateful for the pair that I've spotted. Well, in particular, having the Gid play. "12 minutes on opponent's clock, 4 on mine." I hadn't appreciated how low my time had gone, but I think it's probably because opponent had played so quickly, so most of my thinking time was on my own time. Now, while opponent is thinking, I should mention, even though it's quite late in the month, I haven't mentioned this yet, that there's a new 5-minute game out on Patreon at the beginning of each month, so we're rapidly approaching a new release, but there is a new 5-minute game every month available only to Patreons. Now, what's opponent done? Eth for 24. He's left himself with Muntz. Well, he may not be going out with that. He's blocked my jaw spot. Gid for 21. What I should have done is check that I still have two W spots. Surely I do. I have we and wed, so yes, I do. Okay, 24 for opponent. Where's the best spot for my W? How long have I got? 4 minutes. Wow, not good. We for 4. You. Wed, 7. Wed for 7 it is. And the final score, 395 for my opponent, 435 for me, a winning margin of 40 points, so a huge, huge win. Let's see what I missed. Wow, what a game. Really, really close and hugely volatile board towards the beginning. So, opponent to go first plays Drek. And now I changed, and I could have played Junk for 15, but look at these rack leaves, absolutely dreadful, so I'm happy with changing. Opponent plays Quep, and I play Kantar for 20. Interestingly, I could have played Kantar for the same score with the C and the same rack leave. Okay, well, I don't see anything wrong with my play, or nothing obviously better. Opponent plays Henry. And wow, Girdlers was the only bingo, so delighted to have spotted that. And here we go, this is where the roller coaster begins. Opponent plays Urali. And anti-bias, the only bingo, so again, delighted to have spotted it. And this was the board, super wide open, and we are very close in score. So not a comfortable position to be in. This is exactly the sort of position where a lower rated player can achieve an unassailable lead by whacking down a triple-triple. However, that didn't happen. Opponent played Idea, and I had this tricky rack. Wow, 30 points available. C13. Anode, 5-letter play, parallel to anti-bias. That's nice. And I don't think I did anything remotely that good. Janua for 18. Yeah. Anode. Well, Anode would have still left the triple-triple open, so Janua does have some merit, but I think inferior. Opponent plays Jar, and now I have a great rack. E14, Spinode, that was my play. Dripstone available. 11. G. Wow, through R and T, very difficult to spot. And a few other bingos there. So I now do have a bingo's lead, and the board not quite as wide open as before. However, there are still some good scoring spots, and opponent draws to within 20. This is the first of a number of plays I didn't feel great about. I played Fia, which doesn't even make the list. MU, probably, or possibly better, I'm not sure, just in terms of the number of vowels I'm keeping. However, just looking at the score, Fia isn't terrible. Now, horrible rack for opponent. Look at this, U, V, V, and W. So opponent plays Verve. B4. Interesting. Cozy for 41. What do? I play Zoa, so Cozy would have been much better because it would have significantly hampered a row C play, which is what opponent does with Own. MC, I thought about that. Ah, interesting. I thought about Emix, but I didn't consider MC down here. Slightly reluctant about that play, given that I'm burning so many vowels and there's such a shortage. But with Seam, I'm burning the S, so probably not a huge amount between those plays. And what I particularly don't like about MC is that I'm setting up a bingo lane, and although the remaining tiles aren't bingo-y, there will be bingos ending in E amongst them. Opponent's rat plays Luby. Isoli, N6. Isoli, that would have been the play. Not sticking the C above the triple word square. And scoring well. Opponent plays Ov. Diction, F1. Nice bingo, 33, not a bingo, nice play, 33 points. I played Tinct for 27, which is also fine. Wow, 42 points, G1. Hemionus through IO. What would that have done to the score? 389, so opponent would still have trailed, but it would have been closer. And finally, I play Gid. Opponent plays Mutts. And Wed is the highest scoring out. So, absolutely fantastic game. And it was extremely volatile after anti-bias was down with 2 triple lanes open, but the board managed to dampen down dramatically until at the end there were no bingo lanes available. Fortunately, I was ahead and managed to stay that way and eke out a 40-point win. So absolutely great fun. Many thanks to my opponent for a good battle. I hope you enjoyed watching that game, and I will see you next time.